Hi folks, welcome to another video of AI Agentic Development Android application series. Before we get started with anything, we will just try to understand what happens when we just give a simple prompt. Let me show you the application that I created with a simple prompt. It is sample habit tracker app. If you are aware, these are apps which allow you to track your habits over the period of time, and then it basically allows you to improve your own personal goals. That is what this thing actually looks like. Habit name, say for example, read novels, daily goal at least one page, and this is what it looks like. Settings, not much is there. Today it shows not sure what is the difference between week and today, and depending upon how many habits you have covered, you see this goal tracker which gets updated. It looks very polished, but let's have a quick look at what is the prompt that basically generated this particular app. This is what I had given for the AI. So I basically asked it to create a sample habit tracker app in this particular repository. I basically pointed to the repository that I am working on, and then it took around 2.5 minutes, and then it modified the main activity and added couple of strings.xml, and then I asked it to commit and push it. This is what it has generated based on one single prompt. I had not given it any kind of clear requirements, what it should do, what it should not do, what are the scope, should it be a completely device only app, or should it have any backend integration, is there any backend REST APIs. So all those things I had not given. It assumed things on its own and it created the thing that you just saw. And if you are a software engineer and have worked on large scale projects, this is not how you typically work. You can pretty much call this as a vibe coding, and this is not done for a professional application development. You need to have a proper requirements, you need to have a proper architecture, you need to have a what it can do, cannot do, all those things. Until and unless you have that, you cannot really control what you can allow your AI agent to do or not do. So what we will see in this particular video is we will create a proper way to ideate with the AI to create proper idea brief. So the overall flow of this particular video would be something like this. We will create a skill using a prompt, and then we will use that particular skill and we will see how it works, and based on that how the skill is working, then we will create a idea agent, and then we will basically make this as a part of my applications harness. So this is what at the end of the video we should end up with. We should have a ideate skill, we should have a ideator agent, and then we should generate a idea brief in a standard template that we will define, and then we will capture an ideation session information in that particular idea brief template. And initially, to get started, I will be using Codex to do that. So let me get back to the Android Studio here, check out the main branch. I will open the Codex here. I will start a fresh session and I will use era high. This should be good enough for the kind of work that we will be doing. And I will basically say this is a Android project where we will be developing our application. Create basic Codex based AI harness scaffolding. First off, get started with something very basic like agents.md file. It should create a agents.md file after going through this particular project codebase. Once that is done, we will ask it to create a skill which will be used to ideate with me. So if you just go here, this is a agents.md file. This is right now very bare minimum. It doesn't have anything. It's fine to get started with it. Now, what I will do is I will ask it to create a skill. I have a handy prompt ready which I want to use to create the skill. I will copy that, paste it here, So this is a product ideation skill, and it basically helps you to ideate with the end user to come up with a product idea. And what I will do is use the skill creator to create the skill for this local repo based on the prompt given below. So this is the prompt that I have created, using which it will create this particular skill. Now, how did I come up with this particular prompt? I basically asked another LLM to help me create a prompt which will ideate with me. I had my own ideas of how this ideation should happen. It basically should ask me a lot of questions, help me identify the gaps, close those gaps, all those things. So let me enter this, and now it will basically create the skill that I need for this particular project. And if you see here, I have asked it to create this skill under docs/AI agent harness. So within a moment, you should be able to see that particular skill. Great. So it has created the skill.md file content, and it basically shows 4 sections before asking the questions: what is decided, what is open now, what is not yet specifiable, and what is out of scope. Go ahead and add this particular skill to the current working repo. Adhering to the Codex AI harness standard. You can see that it is saying that I will use a skill creator workflow to add the approved canonical method and thin Codex and Claude adapters. First, checking the repository's existing harness conventions so the new skills fit them. So it says that there is nothing beyond agents.md file, which is basically required by the Codex. You would also need a cloud.md file if you want to work with the cloud. So ideally speaking, I want to basically create this harness so that I can work across Codex and cloud. So it is editing the agent adapters, and it is also creating the canonical method. So it is basically creating skills, cloud and agents md, which is good. So if you now go to the code here, the agents.md file was the old md file that got created, and cloud is the similar to agents md file but needed for cloud. And then under docs there is a skill called as skill.md file, and this is the product ideation skill that has got created. So now that we have this, commit and push it, and as it commits and pushes it, I will ask it to create same app that I want to build, which is a habit tracker app. So I have an idea of a Android app that I want to build, which is a habit tracker app, which allows me to track all my habits daily, then see the adherence to those habits over a long period of time, either on weeks and months, and then also identify where I am going wrong. Should have a very nice, useful dashboard, easy to navigate, should be able to have my own personal preferences, edit, modify, delete things which might be needed for the habit tracker app. And I want to build this particular application purely mobile only app. What do I mean by that? There is no backend integration or any kind of a REST API. It will basically be working purely on the device using the local on device database capability. And then I will say use product ideation skill for ideating with me. So let me hit enter, and if the skill is right, it should start asking me a lot of questions. So it says that it is decided, mobile friendly, mobile app after primary user you, broader audience not yet decided, yes, need, track habits daily, review performance over the weeks and months and verify, promise a useful, attractive, easy to navigate dashboard, personal controls, users can set preferences to edit, modify and delete habit tracking items, boundary. Exact user problem that this should solve best. Yeah, I mean, I have not yet defined that. Core daily loop, what person does and what value they receive each time. What wrong means in the product items. These are very good. So let me answer these questions. So these are basically open now. It doesn't know what those things are. The idea is to help the user to build good habits, full stop. The user can add a new habit and can decide the recurrence of that particular habit or the frequency of that particular habit. And if the user is adhering to that particular habit in a good way for a long period of time, then the user should be able to say that they have inculcated that particular habit and they have not broken the streak. That's the whole idea. We can give some kind of a scoring system to make the application gamified, and even some kind of a badges. If the user is not able to navigate himself properly in the application, if there is a data inconsistency between what the person has entered and what is being shown, and also the user is not able to clearly differentiate between the various items that he would be editing in the app, and accidentally not able to delete proper items, those kinds of stuff, and by chance losing the data. And also there should be an option to export the data in a user preferred format like Excel or PDF format or CSV format, so that over a long period of time, if too much data is accumulated, we can export it and clean database. And then it is saying that not yet specified screens navigation structure database. Yeah, that is not yet decided, but I think this is something that we can do even after the proper understanding of the product itself. I will say we can defer it till the next phase, which is creation of the product requirements. Right now, let's not get into that level of granularity. Same is applicable to this. Whether V1 supports more than an individual user? No. Right now, this is more of a single user app. No login is also required through Gmail, but PIN setup and PIN based login can be. Also, feel free to suggest or recommend some of the features that you commonly find in a habit tracker apps, full stop. But keep in mind that this is a single user app, so don't go overboard. So you can see that now it has once again decided lot of things: decision log, add gamification, single user offline, protect user data actions, open now, what habit definition contains and how its frequency works. I think I'm going to stop this particular ideation session and then basically ask it to generate the idea brief. So it has generated some kind of a idea brief, but this is not durable. I mean, if I lose this particular conversation at some point in time, I am permanently going to lose this particular information. So what I am going to do is I am going to give it a template that it needs to follow while writing the idea brief. It is good that you have created this idea brief, but I want this idea brief to be created in a standard idea brief template that can be reused again and again whenever we are doing the ideation. So I will give this particular prompt and ask it to come up with a idea brief document. Based on this, create standard template which can be reused later, and then based on the conversation that we have had so far, create a durable document adhering to this particular template, which is an idea brief. And I can just hit enter. So you can see that it is trying to figure out where and how it wants to keep this particular document. So let's give it some time so that it can come up with the idea brief.
A few moments later.
So you can see that it has created a template. Yeah, this is pretty good template. And then it has captured the idea brief in this particular format. So it has also captured what is decided, what is open now, and what is not yet specific, and what is out of scope, what are the decisions that have been taken, and hand off to product definition. So it has said that the some of the things will have to be decided in the next step. So yeah, this is good enough. And if you just go back to the structure here are the idea briefs that it has created, and here is the idea brief template. I think Instead of calling this as ideation staging, I want to call this particular folder as templates. Going forward, any template that I want to create, I want to be created in this particular template folder. Idea briefs are okay, and this is fine. So what I will do is, I will say, instead of creating the templates in the folder ideation staging, rename it as templates. Going forward, any templates that we might create, we want to keep those templates in that particular folder, and then you reuse them. So you can see that now it is called as templates. You might be wondering, why didn't I just go and edit the folder name here rather asking the agent to do this? There is a reason. If you start doing the direct manipulations in the code directly without AI recognizing it, then probably AI may not understand the intent behind why you did it. But if you explain yourself to the LLM why you want to do it, what is the intent behind it, then you can basically use that and repurpose that particular intent in the later conversations. And I will tell you why. Based on the conversation that we have had so far, can you come up with a agent which is kind of an agent that does the ideation over multiple loops to basically come up with idea brief based on the conversation with the end user? And now I will hit enter. So what we had created earlier was something called as a skill. Skill basically tells how something is supposed to be done, the process, but the agent is the worker. It basically uses that particular skills to get the things done. So if you want to know more about what is the difference between a skill and agent, I suggest you watch one of my video where I actually talk about it in a very detailed manner. So you can see that I have now a ideator agent which uses the skill of product ideation, and it uses the idea brief template as described here, and then places idea brief under docs-idea briefs folder. The advantage with this is, in the future, whenever I want to get started with any kind of ideation session, so I will basically use this or reuse this agent and a skill so that the ideation can be done in a much better way. Now, the question that you might be asking is, we have not even gotten started with the coding. One thing that probably I want to tell you is, in the agentic era, coding is the cheapest effort. The more effort that you put in creating the harness, building the context, the LLM agent can reuse, easier your life would be as a developer to generate the code. So throughout this series, you will see very less of coding and more of creating this harness and how to manage that particular harness and how to manage the context. Stay tuned for the next video, because what we have created now is just a idea brief. This is not a product requirement. This is not a requirement as such. So we have to now convert that into a product requirement. And after that, based on the requirement, we have to then convert it into a architecture decision. So we will be going slowly in step by step, and we will be creating more skills, we will be creating more agents, we will be creating more templates, we will be creating more workflows. And as we move forward in more future videos, you will see that once we have this harness, generating the code is very easy. So stay tuned for the next video. Thanks for your time. That brings us to the end of this particular video. Don't forget to like, comment, share the video and subscribe to the channel. Take care. Bye.